Hey, what's up, family? So, in my sermon, The People Who Stayed at the Gate, I mentioned the importance of fasting and praying, and I got a lot of questions about it. And some people started asking me to dig deeper into the subject matter. Here are my thoughts, and I'm not going to promise you this video will be 50 seconds, but I promise you it won't be 5 minutes. But stick with me. I think we are living in the most informed generation in human history. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that I know that, I just believe it anecdotally. I believe that we have AI, I think we have instant access to knowledge, the algorithm that can answer questions in a second, technology that can solve problems that previous generations could only imagine. But information, in my opinion, is not the same thing as power. So artificial intelligence, AI, and I love it because I use it, it can give you answers. But my concern is that it cannot substitute for the anointing. It can generate content, it can generate information, but it cannot generate profound conviction. So, and I'll even say it can imitate wisdom, but it cannot impart the presence of God. And so what I was saying in the sermon is that there are some things in life that cannot be solved by intelligence alone. And what was the premise of that? Well, the disciples encountered a problem that they couldn't overcome. They came to Jesus and asked Jesus why they couldn't extract these demons out of this boy. And Jesus replied to them, he said, because you ain't been fasting, you haven't been praying. That's Matthew 17:21, my paraphrase. He said, this kind of anointing only comes by fasting and praying. And so I want you to notice that what Jesus didn't say. What he didn't say was you needed more information. What he didn't say is you need a better strategy. What he didn't say is that you need another seminar, and all of those things are fine. But he said what you need comes from power. And the connective tissue between that power is prayer and fasting. So prayer connects you to God. Fasting disconnects you from everything competing with God. So prayer invites God into the situation. Fasting silences the appetites that often drown out God's voice. So there are battles that education can't fix. There are addictions that talent can't break. There are family cycles that money cannot solve. There are spiritual strongholds that technology cannot touch. Some things only move when the believer gets on his or her knees and pushes away that which impinges upon their direct connection to God. That's why in a world obsessed with artificial intelligence, the church must never lose spiritual intelligence, SI, because the future will not belong merely to people with information. It'll belong to people